Hello again. Okay, well this is Lazouche Custom here, but yes, in the flesh, as you can see. I'm actually in front of the camera instead of just my hands. Reason being, this is a bit of a new review for me. I'm not sort of into sort of real dangerous firearms, but a friend of mine wanted me to do a video for him, and he's acting as my cameraman, so if it starts jiggling or moving around, you can blame him. He's just bought this. He's into his air guns, and this is an SMK DB5. You have to excuse me if I keep looking that way. It's because I've got my prompt sheet here, because I'm not up to these types of weapons, because I'm more into airsoft, as you know. Yeah, this is the DB5. I've actually fired this, and it is a nice gun. It is really, really sweet to use. Bloody accurate. Previously, my friend owned an SMK XS break barrel air rifle, which was 1.177.
That's right, yeah.
And that was good, but it had one hell of a trigger pull on it, so it sort of put you off as you flinched as you pulled the trigger. This one is so powerful and so well balanced that it doesn't sort of give you that jump before you pull the trigger, so it's really good. I mean, as I say, I'm into airsoft more than anything, but after using this, yeah, I could be tempted, let's put it that way. With that, in that regard, with regards to cost and everything else, this isn't too bad. For a budget-sized rifle, I'm going to find the price on here now. How much is it?
£99.
Well, there you go, there you go. That's my prompter. Yeah, just under 100 quid, or around that. Well worth it. Well worth it. It's got an Italian wood stock, so there's a bit of class there as well, a bit of checkering on it as well, especially up the front here. Yeah, it's really, really good. The only thing I would say be careful with is how you load it, which is this little thing here. Instead of it breaking the barrel like I did, or well, like the original one did, his SMK one, this one, or the XS I should say, this one you actually have this sort of arm here which you pull down, and as you pull it down it opens the breech. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see it. So that opens that breech. Whatever you do, do not put your fingers in there. It suggests that you pull that down, hold it, and whilst it's being held you pop in the pellet. Because it's on what they term as a bear trap system, which is a bit hair trigger if you just let it go and just rely on the bear trap. Personally, I would keep your hand on that, hold it down whilst you're loading it. It's a lot safer. So yeah, so you can load it with pretty much any of the .22 pellets out there. Yeah, I should have said that, it's a .22. And yeah, it's damn good. It is very, very good. It's very, very accurate. We've fired Savo rounds, was it? The steel tip ones, we've fired those through it. We've fired standard pellets through it. And it's really, really, really good. As I say, I'm not really into these types of weapons, but I can honestly say I was tempted into getting one of these, and I'm still thinking about getting a pistol, so who knows. Yeah, so value for money is pretty good. Right, what else have we got on here? It's an underlever rifle, as I've just stated. It's got a rigid fixed barrel arrangement, which means for accuracy wise that should help a hell of a lot. I've said about the Italian hardwood stock, which actually is very, very nice indeed, and it doesn't look as if it will mark that easily either. It's got quite a good quality finish to it. You've got a cheek piece. Obviously if you're a right-handed shooter, you need this little bulge sometimes to come out to give you a nice thing to lean into. But it hasn't got it on the left-hand side, so if you're a left-handed shooter, yeah, you might have problems. But you could always put some foam on there or something like that just to bring it out. It's got fibre optic sights, a red at the front and 2 green at the rear, which is damn handy, because a lot of people, when they line the sights up, you can wind up thinking you've got all of the sights lined up, especially if they're all one colour, but you're not. Your actual front sight might be off to the left or to the right. That's why Heine straight 8 sights are actually superior to the 3-dot sights, because they're one above the other, so you can never get them wrong. So what they've done with these, being 3-dot, is they've put the rear ones in green and the front one in red, which means that the red has always got to be between the green, so you know you're on target and correct. So it's a good little sort of extra, that. With regards to fitting the scope, don't bother. it's not really worth it. We spent pretty much all day, didn't we, trying to line up the scope, and it just, it was more frustration than anything else, so I wouldn't bother. What I would do is stick with your iron sights. They are very, very good, and for what you're going to shoot, and at the ranges that this gun is really accurate at, you're better off sticking with those. We had ours set, I suppose, for, what was it? About 24, 25 feet, something like that, maybe 30 feet at the extreme, well, a bit more than that I suppose, maybe around 30 to 50 feet I suppose. We were shooting targets with this, very small targets, I mean lollipop sticks and God knows what else, and we were actually hitting them, so in that respect, your iron sights, we had them set on their minimum setting. You don't really have to adjust. I don't know whether that's sort of adhered to each weapon. As you buy them, they might be slightly different, I don't know. But we had our sights set at the lowest setting, and that was fine. We was getting pretty much accurate shots. Actually, very accurate shots. So, yeah, so for the sights, they're very, very good. I wouldn't bother about scope, although there is a scope fitment thing on here somewhere. I don't know how you fit scope on here, but I presume it's fairly easy.
Grooves at the top.
It is that groove, isn't it? Yeah, you've got two slight grooves running up the top there. I suppose it clips onto those, like a weaver mount type. But honestly, you don't need it. You don't need it. Yeah, so what else have we got here? It's got a conical breech, whatever that means. But I presume that's something good. Yeah, as I stated previously, it's got an anti-bear trap device, so that when you load in it, you pull that down. You can rely on it if you want to. Personally, I wouldn't. And in fact, the guy who sold you this in the shop, didn't he? He said, don't rely on the bear trap device giving you safety when you're loading it. You're better off holding the lever down and then loading it with the lever firmly held in your hand, because it can't allow the breech to come forward at all. It's impossible for it. So that's another little safety thing. Now then, yeah, that was the other thing. We thought, or we've been told, that this has got a two-stage trigger, which means that you get the initial click, then you get the fire pull, which gives you a little bit of take-up. Actually, we never noticed that it had a two-stage trigger. To be honest, we think it's just got a one-stage one, just a slightly heavy trigger. But yeah, it's very, very good. It's not, what should I say, it doesn't sort of trip you up. You don't flinch when you fire it. I did initially, because I wasn't used to the sound of this weapon, but once you got over the sound and the noise, actually the trigger's pretty smooth. It's a lot smoother than the original XS 177 that my friend owned before. So this one, yeah, is pretty good for trigger pull. It's heavy, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's quite safe. Now then, power. I expect you're all going, what's the power? What's the power? Well, it's 12 foot-pounds, which means you don't need a firearms license. All you need to do is go in the shop, sign a form, give your name and address, whatever, and get it, which personally I think is, well, there's more to do to get a bloody airsoft weapon than what it is to get one of these, but and these things can possibly kill someone. But that's how the law is, so as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, so for Christ's sake, be careful. Yeah, so it's 12 foot-pounds, so it's under the limit, the legal limit that is, but only just, so it's quite powerful. Right, okay, it's .22 as I said. When I say 22, it's not long rifle or anything like that. You haven't got a powdered charge or anything like that. It's just purely a pellet, that's all, but it's .22 caliber. Barrel length is 17.5 inches, so it's quite a long barrel, which obviously aids in accuracy. Heaviness, the weight of it is fairly heavy. I don't think you've actually written the weight on there, to be honest. No, you haven't. There you are, missed out. See, I can't get the start. But it is quite heavy, but it has got a nice balance to it, which is where it should be, which is pretty much dead centre of the rifle. In that respect, when you hold it up to the shoulder, yeah, it's nice. It doesn't give you any sort of problems or whatever. I mean, I have to be a left-handed shooter because of my eyesight, because I've got a dodgy eye. But yeah, and to be honest, even though the pad's on the wrong side for me, it's still easy to bring up and aim. So yeah, and the balance of it, the weight is pretty good. Put a scope on there, yeah, you're going to add to the weight. So, but as I say, I won't bother with that. You've got a rubber buttstock. Not that you actually need it to take up any shock, because there isn't really that much, to be honest. I mean, it is only a pellet gun. It's a nice, easy gun to get along with. Maintenance. Is there any maintenance side to this?
Basically just oiling and greasing, that's it?
Just general oiling and greasing it. I presume that the instructions will give you details anyway as to what to do with regards to maintenance. But yeah, it's a good gun. It's a good, it could be used for hunting quite easily, for rabbits and so forth, because the pellets that this fires, you can get steel tip ones which won't put like debris or whatever into the target. So yeah, you could get quite a nice clean kill with this. For target shooting, very, very powerful. Maybe not the best for target shooting, i.e. short range target shooting. For long range, perfect, because this has got the range. We only did short range stuff, and we were literally obliterating what we was firing at, which was blooming cans and gun. I mean, I've got myself a metal SMK target box, which is it's mild steel, but it's about, I suppose, 3 mil thick, something like that, galvanised steel. This thing actually dented it, didn't it, with those steel, and that was not the steel tip ones, was it? It was ordinary, ordinary pellets. So it's powerful. It is quite a powerful weapon. So as I say, for a starter, maybe not, because you've got to get used to the sound of this thing. It has got quite a crack to it. Personally speaking, if you're an experienced shooter, i.e. you've had a 177 before, or a CO2 pistol or something like that, build up to this. I mean, it is good, don't get me wrong, you could have it as a starter gun, but it is quite a dangerous bit of kit, really, when you can think about it. So I would go with a slightly smaller gun before going up to this, plus the cost size as well, because I think your other one, your 177, was a lot cheaper than this one. Yeah. So build up to it. But this, gets my vote of approval. I mean, as I say, I'm not an air gunner or anything like that. I know, as much about these types of guns as the next person. I'm airsoft, but I could quite easily fall for getting one of these. I really could. As I say, I'm thinking of getting a pistol, because as you know, I'm a pistolero, so I like my pistols. But for a rifle to use as a plinker, or even for shooting small game, vermin, stuff like that, you can't go far wrong with this. It's pretty good. So there you are, chaps. So hopefully I might have made you think a little bit differently about air guns. They're not sort of something that can be despised. At the end of the day, it's the person that causes the damage, not the weapon. If the weapon's used sensibly and safely, you shouldn't have any problems. As I say, it's down to the user. But me personally, I don't like anything that goes bang and can kill things. But I mean, I'm building airsoft guns that shoot people every weekend. But with that sort of kind of respect that I like to give to real weapons, this made me feel at ease. Let's put it that way, using this. Whereas as my friend knows, he knows I'm not one into real guns or anything like that. But this actually has sort of broken me in quite well as to using more dangerous weapons. Let's put it that way. So there you go, guys. So this gets my vote of approval, to be honest. I did like the previous SMK XS 177 or .177 rifle that my friend had before, but that had a very, very heavy trigger on it. This has got a nice trigger on it. The only thing that puts you off a little bit is the sound, but once you got over the sound, the trigger's lovely. It's far better than the other gun. So so it gets my vote of approval. So there you go, guys. That's Lazouche Custom saying bye for now. And remember, guys, stay sharp but stay safe.